Hi, welcome to today's community chat. We're going to be talking about what to expect for this coming weekend, starting tomorrow at the Something in the Water Festival. I have a meteorologist, Ricky Matthews, here with me, and he's going to give us a layout of what to expect over the weekend. I know that is something that most people are probably worried about or curious about, so I'm going to turn it over to him to give us all that information.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, let's dive into it here because that is going to be a big thing through the weekend, not just for Something in the Water, but generally across the entire region. We have a lot of events going on, and a lot of those may be impacted by the weather on Friday and Sunday especially. So let's kind of start with the near term, Friday, and that's going to be the day where we see a lot of rain in the morning. Now, that's good and bad because with rain in the morning, a lot of times your atmosphere will kind of work itself over, and sometimes that will allow for us to not have as much fuel or not have as much ingredients for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. But the question tomorrow is, do we see any breaks in the clouds? And if we do see that, we could have a couple opportunities late in the day for some showers and storms. So here's Future Track kind of showing you how things are going to evolve. Notice tomorrow morning, 4, 5, 6 a.m. Look at all the rain, heavy rain at that too. So the morning commute tomorrow, the commute anytime tomorrow morning before about 10 a.m. is going to be a wet one. There'll likely be some ponding of water on roadways and some just downright wet conditions. But by midday tomorrow, you notice a lot of that rain is starting to push its way to the north and east. It's towards portions of Delaware, Maryland. Not seeing as much across Virginia and North Carolina, which means we could see a few breaks of sunshine. If that happens, watch what develops later in the afternoon. A couple isolated showers and thunderstorms along the warm front that try to move through as we go into the late evening and into the overnight hours. So if you're heading out to Something in the Water on Friday, definitely bring the raincoat early and just make sure you have a plan in case there is some rain later in the day. Of course, lightning is the big concern for any outside event, and the Virginia Beach Emergency Management Department, and I'm sure the folks with Something in the Water are going to be watching that closely in the event of any lightning that does pop up. It's not safe out there in the beaches, and they'll likely, kind of clear the beaches like they usually do even in the summertime if thunderstorms approach. So that may be a concern late tomorrow if any of those pop-up storms develop. The question is, where do they pop up? We can't tell you with certainty they're going to pop up over Virginia Beach versus Chesapeake, so we kind of have to just watch the radar tomorrow afternoon and make sure you stay weather aware. So let me give you a closer view of Future Track here. Going through the day today, notice there's a couple showers to the south, but overall a decent day. Heading into tonight, well, that's when the rain comes in. 6, 7, 8 in the morning, heavy rain, ponding of water on roadways, maybe even some isolated flooding for that morning commute. Then tomorrow at midday, a lot of the rain has pushed out, but there's still some scattered showers around, and we'll expect to see that till around 2 o'clock. But then look down towards Ahoskie, Franklin, Wakefield, areas of Suffolk. Notice there's a few breaks in the clouds. That's where our opportunity for some thunderstorms comes from, and those push towards the east as we go through the evening. So there's a chance through the evening hours of a pop-up shower or storm moving through, really all the way into the early portion of the overnight and into Saturday morning. Saturday, though, a little bit better news. Looks great. I don't expect any issues for Saturday. Maybe a spotty shower somewhere in the area, but rain chances much, much lower, only around 20 to 30% for Saturday. Sunday, well, we have a little bit more rain coming our direction as the second weather system approaches. So with that, we'll see a chance for rain building in late morning into the afternoon. Some of that, once again, could be locally heavy during the afternoon hours. Should not be as much wind with this, though. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a breezy day. Friday should not be as much of a breezy day as this system pushes through. But pretty much any time during the day on Sunday, a chance for some isolated to scattered showers across the area, maybe even a rumble of thunder late in the day. Rain chance around 60% on Sunday, 20% Saturday, and 70% tomorrow. So tomorrow is certainly the rainiest day in terms of heavy rain in the morning, but in terms of when the concerts happen, Sunday may be the wettest day overall as we see kind of those on and off rain showers through much of the day. That could also keep temperatures a little cooler, so don't get locked into that 75 just yet. It may be a little cooler on Sunday, especially towards the coast. So, Sarah, it doesn't look like the worst weekend overall. Saturday looks great. I know that's when some of the biggest concerts are, Saturday evening, so it looks good for those, but Sunday it does look pretty wet once again.
And here you're just going to see, what we're, seeing on the beach here. We hope it'll be sunny like this, but obviously you just heard the weather report. So bring those raincoats, those ponchos, whatever you need to, make the day as fun as possible at the festival tomorrow and on Sunday for the pop-up church. Well, Ricky, thank you for getting us in the mood with some of those graphics there. And I know that you're going to keep us updated throughout, as the rest of the week as we go into the weekend.
Yeah, as we get into tomorrow, we'll get a little more high-res data. So that'll give us a better look at Sunday. A lot of times, 2-3 days out, sometimes it can look a little worse on the models than what it actually ends up being. So we'll keep an eye on Sunday. It may have a little bit of a dry time mixed in from time to time here. So we'll keep an eye on that, keep you updated using our WAVY weather app and, of course, on air and online.
Awesome. Well, Ricky, thank you so much for joining us. And then now we're going to take a second, and then we're going to turn it over to some of our WAVY reporters to give you some more intel on performances, community stages, and more. So thanks so much, Ricky.
Yep.
Now we're going to turn it over to our Camaria Bray, who is just off the morning, taking a look at some of the Something in the Water camping, community stages, how things are setting up. Those are some of the stories she's been covering this week. So I'm going to bring her in just a second, but if anyone has questions in the chat for any of our reporters coming in, for anyone that is looking to, sort of give you some extra intel before it starts, figure out maybe how you want to plan your schedule, what it's going to look like for you, maybe some of those lineups you're looking at. So I'm going to bring Camaria on. She is ready to tell you everything from the festival. Here we go. So here's Camaria. We're going to bring her on. Now you're seeing some helicopter chopper 10 shots of the beach. Camaria is with us in the studio. This is her first time actually in the studio. How do you like it?
This is nice. I'm glad to be here. Hello, good morning, everyone. And yeah, I was at the beach this morning from 4 to 8:30, and was seeing things getting moving, and they're look like they're pretty much almost set up with everything. A lot of crews down there, a lot of golf carts of people going back and forth between the two stages that are about 8 blocks apart from each other, the two main stages for the festival. So I'm super excited, and so. Yeah, you want me to talk about some of the community events that's happening?
Absolutely. I mean, you've been covering a lot. You've done community events. You did a look at camping today. So if you want to start with community events and talking about some of those artists, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I talked to 2 local artists. One is Devicia Mack, and she grew up in North Carolina, but she's lived in Chesapeake for more than 10 years now, and she's an R&B and pop singer. She's going to be singing at one of the community stages, which are free, and she'll be at the 24th. I have my notes I'm looking down at right now. She'll be singing at the 24th Street stage at the Love at First Sight stage on Sunday between 5 and 7. We do have her story online at wavy.com, and then we're also going to be sharing her story again on Sunday morning. So she's one artist, and she said it's a Cinderella story for her to perform at this level. And it wasn't her first time performing this at a big event like this. She's opened up for some big artists, rappers, Trina and Soulja Boy, so she's super excited to do it again, and in Hampton Roads. And the second artist that I talked to was Fly Poppy. He is a rapper that's from Virginia Beach. He grew up on the Bayside. He's super excited about performing as well. And we were talking, when I was talking to him, we were talking about just how much this area has been through as far as some of the very serious tragedies that's happened within Hampton Roads and within the whole state. And he just said he wants his music to uplift people. He said he wanted to be a vacation. He wants his music to kind of take people away from the issues that they're happening, that they have been having. And we also have his story online as well. And then I also talked to one of the coordinators for one of the Love at First Sight stage, 24th Street stage, Teen Lamb. They're putting this together. They've coordinated some events during the Mighty Dream Forum, so they're super excited to put this and to really showcase the local talent that is here emerging in Hampton Roads. And yeah, I also have their story online as well. So, and I know Brett Hall has talked to some other local artists, so there's a lot there. There's going to be more than 100 artists. There's also the community playlist if you want to check out and hear some of the sounds from those performers. If you can't make it there, we have that online as well.
Great, and I think Brian's going to talk a little bit about some community stages, our digital reporter as well, and just give a little bit more of a in-depth look at what to expect. But your coverage this week, from music performances to some of the areas that people are staying at, you've really covered such a a sliver of people's experiences here, and we'll just see what's in store for the weekend, because you will be down there at the beach, and we'll figure out how the weather is impacting people, what kind of food vendors they're liking, who are they most excited to see. So stay tuned for all of that information to come. So now we're going to actually bring on another guest. So thank you so much, Kamaria.
No problem.
We're going to bring on Brian, who is going to talk to us. You hear some clapping in the background. Get excited for a little community stage information. Brian has been taking an in-depth look from the start of really when the lineup dropped, and he took a look at who was local. He took a look at who to expect, what their connection was. So he's really been giving us an in-depth look at everything going on since the very beginning. And I am gonna bring him on now and sort of let him introduce what's going on those community stages and some other intel. So Brian, thank you for joining us.
Hey everybody, I'm usually not on the TV on camera, so this is actually kind of fun for me. But one of the biggest new things this year with Something in the Water is they have a bunch of community artists. It's something that they really haven't had before. A lot of local performers. It actually kicks off tonight at the Bunker Brew Pub. It's on 21st Street, and it's called The Kickoff. And it's presented by RVG Management and Airwave Music Group. And you might know that that is Pusha T's music label. So that has some big local and national connection, of course. So that event's tonight at 7. It goes from 7 to midnight, and it's got a bunch of really, you won't want to miss this. Performers include Xiao Lin, who's from Virginia Beach. I actually did a profile on her and some other artists who are going to be there at that night. G Lit is another one of them. And also Nat, she's a local reggaeton singer. All three are from Virginia Beach, and you can actually see my profile of them now on WAVY.com. So we've got info on their performances tonight. And then also, two of the big things we're going to focus on are they have 2 community stages all weekend, sponsored by a few different local groups. And we have a profile on them online as well. Robbie Wells and Gabe Niles were the 2 key figures in bringing all these local artists together. And that's going to start tomorrow. There's one at 24th Street and one at 17th Street. They'll start around noon, and they go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I've got more information on that on my Twitter page, Brian Reese _, and you can also see everything on WAVY.com as well. But those are the big things. So tonight it's the kickoff at the Bunker Brew Pub, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there are events at 24th Street and 17th Street. Friday is actually interesting because they have somebody who we kind of haven't seen a little bit is Dram, who's an artist from Hampton, and he's playing right around 5 o'clock. Make sure I got that right. In addition to several other local DJs. Let me pull it up for you. So we got DJ Can Rock from Norfolk is leading things off on Friday at noon. Then we've got a bunch of different Baby Oil from Chesapeake. Madeline Stardeck, we actually talked to her last week. She's the local DJ from Virginia Beach. She'll be on at 5:15 p.m. on Friday. Lex Luger, what a great name there. You better watch out, Superman. He's from Portsmouth, actually. He's coming on at 6 o'clock. And then, it's Dram and the Bakery Boys, 6:30 p.m. So you won't want to miss that Friday at 17th Street. And all this, remember, is free. That was the big thing that they wanted to have this year. Whether or not you have a ticket to the actual main event, you can go see these local acts. And Dram, is a pretty big national name, too, if you've heard the song Broccoli. So yeah, those are some of the big events. A lot of free stuff to do. That's one thing that they wanted to have. A lot of community vendors at the 24th Street stage. They'll actually have a bunch of community vendors and stuff to do for the kids. They're going to have a talent show. They're going to have all these different things. I'm looking through Fridays right now. They've got, this is the Area 75. Let me pull up.
And what you're seeing on the screen here too for B-roll is you're seeing some of the shots of the posters, with the times and the schedules. And then you can also head over to WAVY.com to sort of see a more in-depth look at that list. Brian has been, covering these artists since the very beginning, and I know that you yourself might check out, some of these community stages this weekend. So, get ready to see Brian out and about.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see these guys. It was great talking to them, and of course you can see more of my profiles, talking with some of these artists on WAVY.com right now. On Saturday, for example, the 24th Street stage is Gabe says it's going to be more like a campfire, kind of a cookout, bring everyone out kind of feel on Saturday. That's going to start at 10 o'clock on Saturday. They're going to have a pull-up, what's called pull-up and pitch. That's hosted by Black Girl Ventures and Black Ambition. So that's entrepreneurs trying to get their name out there, promote their products. We have a talent show at 2 o'clock on that stage. Teens with a Purpose, that's a local group that we've covered a lot at WAVY. At 3 o'clock, they're doing a poetry reading. And then a bunch of other different events that day. Gabe says, I don't want to give everything away. I want you to come out and check it out yourself. So definitely come out there and have fun. And it's all free.
It's all free. There's a ton of different events, from music to those pull up and pitch, competition-esque, activities and more. So, thanks for giving us a laydown of what's going to happen this weekend. And, I think if you want to take a more in-depth look at some of these community stages, please head to wavy.com. There's a comprehensive guide. Brian has done a lot of background research on and interviews really with some of these people. So you can actually get to know the artists that you're going to see this weekend.
And you can follow me it's at Brian Reese _ on Twitter, where I'll have more updates through the weekend. And also on my Instagram page, it's B_Reese, my nickname. So you can follow me there too.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Thanks
you.
for coming in. We have one more guest for you all. He is just going to come in 1 second, and it's somebody that that has been covering this for quite a while, really, and has been on the ground, seeing the different developments each day. And so I think, it'll be exciting weekend, and he's going to give us a look at sort of what to expect on some of that. So in a second, we're going to bring in Brett Hall, maybe do a little bit of some background too on sort of the developments this year for the festival. So here is Brett in the studio. This is not Brett's first time in the studio. He's been in for election coverage.
How come I didn't get an applause, Brian?
Oh, Brian.
Your sound operators.
He's been in for election coverage before, and we talked about the casino. So he's been giving us sort of a layout of a lot of different, topics in here, but he's in here for something in the water. And he's been on the ground too, seeing some of the developments actually from the beach and how they've been putting this year's show together. So Brett.
Yes, sorry. Andy Fox was trying to call. He must not be watching. So this is the second time I've covered something in the water. I was coverage of the inaugural in 2019. This year's a lot different because of the two stages is really, I don't even know if we understand the whole, the length in which that's going to change the experience for some people. I've already been hearing from some people that aren't sure how they're going to see two of their favorites at the same time. I guess you're going to get a lot of exercise because that's the only way to get from one end of the beach to the other, 11th Street to 3rd Street, to see these acts. So that's going to be different. The community stages that we've talked about, that's new. Robbie Wells, the executive director that we spoke with, Brian and I, he was saying that he feels that they didn't hit the mark in previous Something in the Waters, either DC or the first Virginia Beach one, in bringing enough local talent. So he thinks they are righting that wrong this year. What he views as a wrong, a lot of other people would say they loved the first festival just fine. This is just making it better. I'm trying to think. What else should we go over?
Can you talk about the pyramid? I know you saw that.
Oh, the pyramid. Yeah. So Pharrell is now the fashion director for Louis Vuitton. I believe menswear fashion director, and that really happened in the last 40 days. And he convinced Louis Vuitton to come and help bring an art installation. It is a 30-foot tall pyramid that looks like it's made out of sand. It fooled me, but it is. It's really wood with amazing painters that made it look like sand. It's 2,500 square feet. There's lights in it, so it'll be lit up at night. And just one of the art installations. The first year we had Kaz Is that the name of who was Kaz? That was the big inflatable. That's not here this year. So that's the difference on this one compared to previous festivals on that front. Another difference is it looks like there might be some more covered seating for the pop-up church. That has it looks like it's going to be a tent this year. I'm trying to think what else is really different for anyone that went to the first festival. The trolleys aren't running, so transportation is all on you. So the trolleys are not running this time because they have a little bit more of Atlantic Avenue closed off and have pedestrian traffic only than they did in the past, I believe. I'm trying to think of some other big updates that are really important. There's just so much going on.
So I think, one thing that we've talked a lot about is transportation, getting down there. I think one thing that they are sort of pitching to people too is you can bike over. There's a bike storage area that's going to exist. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but it's going to be, I think, on 16th Street.
That's right in front of the Breakers.
Yeah.
They actually did have that year one. It looks like a giant bike parking lot. Yeah. I don't know how else to put it.
I think, drop off and pick up is going to be near that Virginia Beach Athletics complex. And
that's very interesting. Know that I think something important that I don't know if we've hit on enough is that something in the water is just known, I guess, now for being a very fluid event. We learned about its return, and as well as the city learned about its return in October. It was October, I believe. There is a women's conference scheduled for the convention center this weekend because the convention center is not being used by something in the water other than police and fire this time as a command center. And the sports center, which was not open during the first Something in the Water, I didn't know this, that volleyball can be associated with Grand Prix, but it's something with a volleyball Grand Prix. I did a little exploring. They have listed on their website, hey, there's a big event that's not ours also on the ocean front. But the parking is reserved for them over there. So parking, Madison Pierman's been covering it, but really it's that shuttle. We just learned a few moments ago that the former McDonald's, managed by one of our very own editors here, that was leveled last year, is now a brand new parking lot. There's going to be some parking there, but not much. McDonald's on 20th and Pacific Avenue. But other than that, if you're planning to go, it seems like the shuttle pass might alleviate your concerns because yes, the convention center has those big open lots, but you have a conference there and you have a volleyball tournament. At least that's what I'm going to call it, a volleyball tournament at the sports center. So that's really important.
Don't want to get down to the beach and then not be able to have a place to park and then have to turn around to the amphitheater.
Right.
If you're trying to catch your artists and then trying to get in with your passes and everything. But Madison Pierman, as Brett said, it's a traffic and transportation guide that's on WAVY.com. And so that, is the best place to look, I would say, for information on road closures, how to get there. I think the shuttles start running at noon tomorrow. And so, line up, get your place in line to get down to the venue.
There's Pyramid.
What'd you say?
There it is.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive.
And Brett, do you have any more about some of the, speaking of sports, stuff we can play on the beach? They don't have the basketball court this year.
Right, they don't have the basketball court, but they have it's what's known as Play, and it is the Black Girls Tennis Club, which was founded in part by Pusha T's wife, Virginia, and as well as World Soccer, World Street Soccer. I need to double check. I apologize. I didn't have my notes up. But they are going to be having, I'm not sure how it's going to work tomorrow, but now I think Ricky was just saying the rain could be clearing out by their noon start time So noon to 4, Friday, Saturday, they're going to have open play, but also some matches with some clubs around here playing soccer on the beach, playing beach tennis. So different paddles, not a clay court, but they're going to have that out there because people liked being able to get active, and getting active is very important to the people. Hold on a second. Andy Fox, we're on the Facebook chat. Hold on a second, okay?
So I'm just going to take it over for a second. What you're seeing here is just some of the Chopper 10 footage. Here is the pyramid that they've been speaking about. And you can see crews pretty around the clock, it seems, have been, working on this. And it's a pretty big area. I mean, Brett, can you just speak to, you've been down there. I mean, this is a pretty big area that it's covering on the beach.
Well, so this morning at 7 o'clock, they closed off the boardwalk from 14th down to Rudy Loop. That's no longer accessible for the rest of the festival. Surfers have until tonight. They can use They can go around the edge of Rudy Loop walkway, which is also going to be closed at the end of tonight. So that's all part of the festival grounds. We're learning just a little bit ago that some of Mike Standing's restaurants, Chick's and Waterman's, I guess because of a new procedure, this was very different than in 2019, that because of the security concerns, which I think we can all admit are very different than just 4 years ago, they can't have those restaurants that have the outlets to the festival be a part of the festival, or they either had to put up the gate, they had to put up a wall there. So I'm still actually just learning about that, which is very interesting. But they can't serve regular customers, so I guess they're choosing to operate for the festival. We're learning. I got a question off the bat on what does that mean for the meals tax sponsorship agreement? Does that mean now all the Waterman's proceeds also go directly to the festival? I don't know that yet. I have a call into the city to find that out. Another thing we're looking into, here's something that I actually haven't broadcast yet. Let me pull this up. It's about Airbnb. So the first time the festival came here, Pharrell actually, I don't know if partnership is the right word, but promoted using Airbnb, people to open up their homes. Airbnb sent me an email yesterday saying that they did some research on where people are coming from. And let me see what I can tell you here. So they didn't compare the 2019 something in the water. They went to 2022, but said DC hosts of Airbnbs collected around 1.5 million total in welcoming guests to Airbnb for the last something in the water, which again was in DC. They say the top origin of cities guests traveling to Virginia Beach this weekend during this year's music festival are Richmond, city of Hampton, which was interesting, city of Norfolk, city of Chesapeake, city of Newport News, city of Suffolk, then Alexandria, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Washington, D.C. So it's interesting. A lot of people from our area that are going are trying to make I don't know if that's considered a staycation, but a weekend of it. They've gotten Airbnbs and are staying down there too. I thought that was very interesting.
And I think there are still Airbnbs available. I did just do a little, we did a little search yesterday just to see. And honestly, I mean, some of them seem pretty close. There are some that have, reviews of over 40. They have Superhost. So, I mean, there are really Airbnb options that are not new that are still available if you're still looking. Real quick, we have a question, about what locals can do without tickets that is not music. I think a lot of this festival obviously is centered around music. I know A Seat at the Table tonight also will have art. It'll have a panel. It'll have food trucks, opportunities to network and talk to different people in different creative industries. So I think that's a good opportunity. Tickets are still available. I think they're $25. They're donation based. So if you're looking for an activity around something in the water that might, yes, have music as a component, but has other stuff going on, I think that's a good option to sort of see what the festival's about. And I'm assuming, at some of these other events too, there are options for speaking to people and hanging out. We listed some of the games going on, and those are opportunities where music isn't the focus. But this is really a music-focused festival, and so I think the goal is to bring out local talent. To there's something in the water and in the talent here. So
the festival was a lot about. Someone's knocking upstairs. No, there better not be a squirrel. A squirrel's in my attic earlier this week. It was terrible. Anyway, going back, the first Something in the Water festival, Pharrell said it was going to be a cultural arts festival, which it certainly was. There were panels in the convention center. There was also that late night programming that's not this year. They had trap karaoke to try, and that was their last ace in the hole to really show like we can do this without violence because of College Beach weekend past. I'm not going to go into all that right now. Mary Elena has a piece at 6 o'clock on WAVY News 10 about that. But he noticed that a lot of people really didn't attend the day panels. They wanted the music. So he split up kind of what he originally envisioned for Something in the Water. Something in the Water became all about music-centric, and the Mighty Dream Forum, first year it was Elephant in the Room, then it became Mighty Dream Forum in Norfolk, that has become where those forums are. Now that also is a ticketed event now, but there are still, as you mentioned, some forums. There's a couple tomorrow, one at 1, I think talking about health at the 31st Street. but this is really about the music. There have been a lot of other
Right.
a lot of other pieces of community involvement. I know they're going to be redoing a basketball court somewhere in the city. Dominion Energy is partnered with them. They're redoing some people's homes to make them more energy efficient, lower their energy bills. We did a story this morning about something in the water, partnering with the United Way of Hampton Roads to provide scholarships to African Americans, Black students that want to go pursue STEM educations at universities, and they got free tickets to something in the water. So that was really cool, that reveal. There's the live stream this year. So there is a lot you can do without paying for a ticket.
I was also going to add, in the lead up to the actual event, there has been so many events, whether it was revolved around skateboarding or Earth Day. There has been a lot of community events that Something in the Water has partnered with. And I know that, Brian, you've covered some of those Yellow and Earth Day events too, throughout your time sort of looking at the festival. I've been monitoring sort of questions in the chat. I think some is a lot of excitement, some is about weather, and some is just some, conversation. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add, going to the weekend. Will you be down there yourself? I think that's
well,
important.
I'm going to be down there tomorrow morning, which looks like where the rain's going to be. So if I have to take the short stick, I guess I will. I am going to try to make it down there. I always love seeing the pop-up church. I might try to make it down there. It's just trying to get the lay of the land right now on how that's going to work. I'm going to be I'm going to be flying Saturday night. So we can get the really cool views from above, and bring you, if you're not there, what it looks like down there for the second time the festival's been held. Chopper 10 I'm going to be with my Chopper 10 friends.
And I think, that's the one other free thing that I just wanted to highlight. We mentioned it a
Chopper
little
10
bit
rides?
earlier. Oh, yeah, there's free? Maybe free. But no, the pop-up church that you did talk about on Sunday, I know that it might be a little bit of a rainy day, but that's a free event. It's taking
So
place in
much
its
fun.
own area, and they have a whole lineup for Sunday. So, if you can make it out to the pop-up church, that is a free event.
And I think there's a shuttle there too. Now, it might be with participating churches, but I know there's a shuttle, and that's not from the amphitheater. That is from Military Circle Mall in Norfolk. There's some sort of shuttle to get people to the pop-up church. I need to learn a little bit more about that.
But we're learning this, and we're being, transparent with you of what we know in the moment, what we're going to find out tomorrow and throughout the weekend. I'll be at the festival tomorrow and Saturday.
Oh, nice.
With our social media. So I'll be trying to give a look at what you can expect from on the ground there. So whether you're into your fashion or whether you're into, the food and vendors, I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're going to try to show some of those, life moments at the festival. So we'll tag you throughout the day, and, tag Wavy if there's something interesting at the festival you want us to check out too, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Brian? I'm looking over at you.
Brian, you
I
have any good
turned your mic
closing
on,
thoughts?
too.
And our hashtag.
Where's your mic?
Oh, yeah.
Our hashtag for the weekend
Is your mic over here?
is WAVY SITW.
Yeah.
Oh, your mic's over here.
No, he's
Oh,
right.
he was right? Okay.
You're good.
I don't know
But,
what I'm talking about.
But no, Brian's on. But yes, hashtag Wavy SITW. I also put it in the Facebook chat, and our web team is also linked to Brian and Brett's Twitters. So if you do want to follow along with them for up-to-date coverage, do that. And then please check back with WAVY-TV 10 for weather updates. I'm sure things might change throughout the weekend, and just see. But I probably would bring a little poncho in your bag, don't you think?
Right, because umbrellas aren't allowed
If you did not know
if you go
that.
to the concert.
Yes.
I guess the one other thing that I noticed this morning is that free shows doesn't mean security free. The 24th Street, 17th, and 31st Street stages all have the gates around them, and I believe they're going to have security working them. It really ratchets it up that it's a free event because you got security monitoring those events. I talked with some of the security team this morning. They're feeling pretty good, but safety's paramount, fun is paramount.
Mm-hmm. And I think, the last thing we mentioned is we talked about, security on land, but also, don't try to drive your boat up to see the concert. That's not really going to work for you. I don't know.
Coast Guard's involved. There's a lot of police agencies. I understand Newport News is helping. Norfolk is on standby. Not unlike the first year that this happened with the big mutual aid agreements around here. So there's going to be I think the line I heard used is there's not going to be many doors that open and that we're not going to know about. So security will be tight down there. Today on 264, I even saw the troopers, our Virginia State Police, getting ready. So everyone's in that final prep mode.
Yeah, well, just, enjoy the concert, stay safe, stay dry if you can, and enjoy all those community concerts or the festival. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty good parting word.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be on WAVY.com, and it'll live on Facebook and YouTube if you want to check back and get any more intel. Thanks so much.
We got to call and see what Andy